Imagine being parents of a kiddo who hardly eats, or if they do eat, they eat a little and then their stomach hurts. They get really stressed and they may tell you sometimes that they feel like they need to vomit or that they feel full and you just know that's not the case. As a parent, you've tried everything. You've tried the supplements, the detoxes, changing your child's nutrition, and nothing has really been the answer for your child's struggles. This is a story that happens so often with kiddos that struggle with something called gastroparesis. Now, if you haven't heard of it, that's okay. This is what comes after a kiddo continues to struggle with tummy symptoms. A trip to the pediatrician, then a trip to the specialist, oftentimes leads to this diagnosis. Now, when we look at these symptoms, oftentimes we unpack them and we see that they are general digestive and gut struggles. Today, we want to talk about the gut struggles or the digestive struggles that your kiddo may be experiencing, because oftentimes this diagnosis of gastroparesis is often what your child's struggles get funneled into. Now, we know as a parent, especially a mom, you're up late, 2 a.m., Googling, how can I help my child? Who else is dealing with this? What have you all tried? You're trying to find the answers. You're trying to find the help for your child. And you maybe have even tried everything you've seen on the internet, on Google, on the Facebook mom groups, the diet, the detoxes, the nutritional changes, everything, and still nothing has worked for your child. That's why today I want to look at this from a different lens, because what you're seeing, that continuous struggle, the answer isn't what you're putting in the body, but it's what's happening between the brain and the body, or that communication, or specifically the brain and gut connection, or the brain and gut communication. This is really where the root cause of all those struggles lie. And if the brain and gut communication isn't working properly, then the gut isn't able to tell the brain what the gut needs, or what the brain needs to tell the gut what to do. You start to feel fuller, you start to feel like you can't get things through, things get stuck, elimination doesn't work as well. And all of this leads to this whole thing, the diagnosis of gastroparesis. Oftentimes when pediatricians work with gastroparesis, they look at specifically the gut. What is the gut doing? And why wouldn't they, right? It's the right place to look. They look at the bacteria, they look at the microbiome, they see the motility, how things are moving, but that's not the only place to look. If the gut is good and everything there is healed and there's still a struggle happening, we've got to look at that signaling from the brain to the gut and back from the gut to the brain. And there's one nerve in the body that is primarily responsible for this signaling from the brain to the gut and back from the gut to the brain. If there's one thing from this video that you take, I want it to be this. Now, Google this nerve. It's called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve starts up here where the brainstem is, and it travels all the way down, goes to the heart, the lungs, the lymph, all the way down to the gut or digestive area. And it allows your brain and gut to talk to each other. It allows your gut to tell the brain, hey, I'm full, hey, I'm empty. It's designed to tell your brain to signal things to the smooth muscle of your digestive tract to say, hey, let's start moving things through. Let's start eliminating stuff. Let's start absorbing things. All of this from this huge, very important nerve, the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve plays a powerful and huge role in the struggles that kids have with tummy pains, and it also is connected with anxiety, which often goes hand in hand with gastroparesis. With kiddos that struggle to eat and are a failure to thrive, look to that vagus nerve. As pediatric chiropractors, we look specifically at the vagus nerve with something called insight scans. Insight scans literally give you an insight into what your brain and nervous system are doing when it comes to communicating with the rest of the body. We look at, are those communication or those signaling pathways in a good place? Because here's the thing. If the nutrition's right, if the diet's right, if all of that stuff is right, and your child continues to struggle, there's perhaps a deeper issue or a more rooted issue in what's going on with the signaling from the brain to the gut. If you add in the right nutrition, the diet, the supplements, all of that, and you're getting all of that right, but the brain and the nervous system are not able to communicate with the gut properly, the struggles are still going to continue. It's not going to absorb well. It's not going to eliminate well. Things are just going to get stuck. And that brings us to the next thing. We want to see how easily the brain is able to communicate with the body and back from the body to the brain. A lot of times when kids are struggling with digestive stress, we call it poor plumbers. They're having trouble moving fluid through, trouble moving food through, just trouble in general getting things going. And that means, or that signals to us, that there is something in the nervous system that's stuck, that's not allowing the digestive tract or the gut to do what it needs to do. So if you don't have good movement, good signaling, chances are we need to look at the vagus nerve. And we know as a parent, you've tried everything, you've added everything, and your child still continues to struggle. A lot of times it's not what's happening here in the gut, but it's what's happening here, that brain-gut connection, and that vagus nerve is really where your child is stuck in the struggle. So when we come into our office, we not only look at the scans, but we look at the history, because we know that every child and every digestive struggle is different. And remember how I talked about how digestive struggles oftentimes go alongside with anxiety? It can also go alongside hand in hand with behavioral issues or struggles. It could rev up the behavior, and that's the other side of the vagus nerve, the social vagus. So when the vagus nerve gets stressed out, everything gets stressed out, because the vagus nerve is actually responsible for so much more than just digestion. It's responsible for growth, it's responsible for social and behavioral, it's responsible for emotional regulation, and it's responsible just for overall ease, which means so much can be combined when looking at the vagus nerve to understanding what your child is going through. So you've done all the research, you've looked at the nutrition, the diet, the supplements, and everything to do with the gut itself. Now it's time to look at the nervous system and the vagus nerve for your child's digestive struggles. That's such an important part, and we want to help you find the roadblocks when it comes to your child's health, where and when the vagus nerve got stuck and subluxated, and how to improve communication between the brain and the body and the brain, and that brain-gut connection. We hope this video finds you well, and if you don't struggle with this personally but know someone whose child does struggle with this, please share this video with them. We're on a mission to help as many kids as we can with this, with failure to thrive, with all those unanswered questions that parents are up late Googling for. They're on their Facebook groups trying to figure out what to do next. We're here for you. We're here for them. We want to get those kiddos back on track and thriving. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.